a partially valid, a half-truth, if you will, is
Yeah.
being pushed.
I can't wait to find out all sorts of new and exciting things I didn't know about myself.
So you just hate Jews, bro?
Yeah, you're
It's
just an anti-Semite. Congratulations.
You're
Go
not
join.
What would you say?
Exactly.
Well, that's different. It's not different. It's the same thing.
Yeah, it's
That just we are the only society on Earth who has the obligation to self-destruct, to blame ourselves for every problem that has ever existed, and we just think of ourselves as the worst human beings who are responsible for every bad.
How many Muslims are trying to stop Boko Haram? How many Muslims were confronting ISIS? How many Muslims, the extremists always win. So the peaceful majority, which I know many, they're irrelevant.
Good morning, misfits. And what a morning it is already. So I just got a call from a blocked number about 10 minutes ago, and they were like, hey, so do you ever just like read your comment section and think that you should kill yourself? And I was like, no, why would I think that? I'm not, dude, this happens all the time, by the way. This is like, there's somebody in the comments that's about to be like, oh my God, I'm so sorry that happens to you. Don't be. It's the highlight of my day. Okay? It's literally the highlight. Like when these people go out of their, I own their life. That's nice. All right? Like, it's nice. It's nice. Look, it's nice to feel needed. Okay? And they need to yell at me. And I provide a service, right? But yeah, he was like, yeah, so wait, but you're the, and I just go, excuse me. I go, hold on. I go, excuse me. I go, do you understand what projection means? And they were like, yeah, I understand what projection means. I go, do you think it's possible that the reason that you think that I would read a comment section on the internet and think about taking my own life is because you're projecting onto me and your life sucks. And if you read negative things like on the internet, you might kill yourself. And he was like, and then I just hung up, and he called me 3 times. And I'm like, I got to do my show. I don't have time for this. But I'm sure if you're watching, honestly, hey, give it a shot. I don't know. I don't care. People are like, that's mean. Yeah, I know. Look, you guys killed the nice guy. All right. Like Charlie Kirk. I'm not Charlie Kirk. I'm not. I'm a bad Christian. I told you this. I think I'm going to lose any sleep if some asshole on the internet fucking just, no, I'm not going to be happy about it, but I'm not going to be like, oh no, I could have done something. I can't. It's not my fucking fault that people suck anyway. All right. Let's get to the daily breakdown. Pray for Zach. He needs to charge rent money to those who allow him to live in their mind. You know, it's funny. I always say, I go, I'm not, look, this isn't even me living in their head rent free, okay? I'm the landlord, all right? I own the building. I am their head. There is no living in their head. I am their head, all right? They owe me money, not the other way around. Anyway, Eli was unavailable to make a thumbnail. I gave it my best shot. I did not have enough time. I worked yesterday. I got to work today. It's a tough life, you know, doing the real job at the constructions. I act like I work for somebody. I own my own company. I'm doing pretty well. But I put together this like, you know, AI image to give you guys an idea of what the theme of the day is, right? So we got the themed shows, TDS Tuesday, right? We have gotten to a level of Trump derangement syndrome where the left has decided to do these like no kings protests, whatever. And during these No Kings protests, there are people that are going up like, they're literally praising communism, right? They're praising communism. And I forgot to do something. I'm so sorry. Hold on. Let me do this with you guys. We'll come back and cover it. what are let me just ask perplexity here. What are the similarities to a communist dictator and a king? I guarantee you there's going to be so many. Communist dictators and kings, particularly absolute monarchs, share key traits in wielding unchecked power. Both systems concentrate authority in one individual, often without meaningful limits from other institutions. All right, we'll keep that up. We'll come back to it. It's so funny, dude. It's so funny because these people, the people that are talking about no kings, all right? Like, we'll go full screen for this. I know that everybody covered this yesterday. I wanted to cover Maha Monday, and now we're sort of covering this story a day after. But the good thing about doing that is I'm going to be able to pull a bunch of clips from people that sort of did the work for me yesterday, and I'm going to show you how the CCP is funding the No Kings protest, which I already knew, right? Just like they fund Code Pink and the operations down in Cuba with Hassan Piker, etc. Right? But you have to follow the money to sort of understand like why this is happening. The hilarious part though is the woke left, because of their Trump derangement syndrome, right? TDS Tuesday, they have like lost the ability to think. Like we are praising absolute monarchy while going after Donald Trump, who's quite literally just like the opposite of a king. Right? Trump is, now we can point this out all day and they'll just be like, but he rules like a king. He doesn't. He doesn't. He uses his executive authority heavily, right? But it's his authority. He uses his position as commander-in-chief heavily, but it's his position. I mean, look, the Supreme Court has shut down Donald Trump several times and he's gone by their wishes. It's not a king, all right? It's not even close to a king. It's not a tyrant. It's not an authoritarian. It's just somebody who understands that he has power, and he uses that power to do what he told his voters he would do, right? That's not a king. Now, we can keep on saying it's not a king, it's not a king, it's not a king. It's just not, and everybody understands this. The point is, the TDS people, the people with Trump derangement syndrome, they're not only not acknowledging that Donald Trump is not a king, right, which is obvious, they're also praising kings. They're praising a system of governance that puts in kings. I mean, a communist dictator is a king. Shit, they were doing this in the UK where they have an actual king. You guys ever seen how many people go, oh my God, the royal family is on TV. Let's sit all day and watch. No, I love the royalty. How many of you sons of bitches watch whatever the hell what's that? Downton Abbey. Yeah, how many of you guys like that show? No kings, my ass. You love kings. You just hate Trump. And we get it. You have TDS. It's a derangement syndrome, okay? It's like there are so many derangement syndromes and mind viruses going on that it's becoming like really weird. The world is weird, but I don't know if the world was always weird and we just have more access to the weird because the internet is like the people of Walmart, right? I say this all the time. The internet, like social media in particular, is Walmart, all right? It's a Walmart. You ever go into Walmart and you like don't see somebody weird? That would be weird. It would be weird if you went into Walmart and didn't see anything weird, right? And that's the internet. That's social media in general, right? And it's like, all right, yeah, like, I mean, I guess you could say like the internet is Target and social media is Walmart. But it's, my point is, has it always been like this? or are we just we're just seeing more of it, or has Trump created, not necessarily created, but was Trump the catalyst for a lot of people sort of just losing their mind, right? Because we have the woke mind virus, right? I think that was brewing before Trump, because you have to remember this is also happening in other countries. So it's not Trump. It's a mind virus, right? That I would say is manufactured, which is, if we know anything from history, the Red-Green Alliance, which we've talked about in Iran, where Islamists use useful idiot socialists, Marxists, and college kids. The entitled, pampered society of the world, these absolute just soft people who have suicidal empathy. This is something that's repeated. But we have this thing going on. It's palpable. We see it. But are we seeing it because the internet and it was always there, or is it worse? And I don't know the answer to that question. But we will get to all of that later in the show. We also do this thing every day called the Daily Breakdown. That's the name of the show. And when we do the Daily Breakdown, we go on the internet, we type in the word news, then whatever pops up, we talk about, right? So here we go. We got some stories here. One from 4 hours ago from NPR. Babies are an afterthought in the birthright citizenship case, advocates say. Bruce Leslie is incensed at one dimension of the debate about birthright citizenship that he says is being completely overlooked. It's in the words birth right citizenship. This is about babies. Okay. Interesting. I don't know where this is going, but let's find out. Leslie is the president of First Focus on Children, bipartisan advocacy group for children and families, which submitted an amicus brief for the case Trump v. Barbara to be argued Wednesday, April 1st before the Supreme Court. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. This is about the case, the birthright citizenship case, which is going before the Supreme Court. I knew that it was going before the Supreme Court. I did not realize it was going before the Supreme Court tomorrow. That's something to look at. During the debate on potential end to birthright citizenship, and birthright citizenship, I don't know if it should necessarily be ended. I think that if we have to look at what the 14th Amendment says, they're going to argue this in court, right? And when the Supreme Court makes a decision that I don't agree with, I usually accept it. Usually, right? When they rule in favor of the way that I would like, I also accept it because I understand that that's how the system works. All right, it's not perfect, but it's the one we got. But let's see. Let's continue with this article. What birthright citizenship means for birth. Right now, when a baby is born in an American hospital or in a birth center, the baby is automatically a citizen with immediate access to a range of support and services. Pregnant women are eligible for Medicaid coverage in every state, regardless of immigration status. They shouldn't get that. I'm sorry, in my opinion. That means prenatal visits, birth, and postnatal visits are covered. Medicare currently pays 40% of all births in the U.S. Health coverage during pregnancy, means the baby has the best possible chance for a healthy start, including automatic eligibility for Medicaid for the first year of your life. This might sound harsh. Here's how I think it should happen. You guys are going to want to strap in for this, because I think I might even split the room with my own audience here. I think if a woman is not a citizen of this country and goes into a hospital, she should be arrested at the hospital and deported. Yep. They have to give birth, right? They have to get that care, right? Okay. So, give them that care in another country. Why are we incentivizing it, right? Why? Look, again, this could split the room, but think about it, right? We just learned that if a woman is a non-citizen in this country, we automatically assume that because she's pregnant, hasn't even had the baby yet, we have to cover her medical bills, right? So why wouldn't somebody come here and immediately get knocked up? It's almost a guaranteed. This is the term anchor baby. However, if the United States policy was, hey, if you're pregnant, you better have that thing in a fucking kitty. Sorry, guys. You know, we try.
I don't know why you got to do
try.
it in front of the kid with the effing.
We try.
All you got to do is say,
you better have that thing in a kiddie pool, right? Because if you show up to a hospital, the likelihood of you leaving in handcuffs is very high. That, I think, should be the policy. Because, first of all, we would be like, okay, we don't have to worry about birthright citizenship because anytime any pregnant woman comes in and she's not a citizen, we just deport her and she has the baby in her country of origin. Or, right, you can have it in a kiddie pool and it's a citizen, but you're not. There you go. I'm just saying de-incentivize it. You know? Or get knocked up and then come here. In the chat, good point. Why wouldn't they just get pregnant and immediately take a dangerous journey to America because at the chance that they're going to get free medical care? Exactly. There should be no policy in this country where if you are a non-citizen, we pay for your medical bills, period. I don't care what your condition is. I'm not saying that we shouldn't treat you. Obviously, you can treat somebody who's a non-citizen. We're not evil. We're not like, oh, sorry. But nah, we got to be like, okay, you're a non-citizen. As soon as you show up to the hospital, you're getting arrested because it's like you just showed up. Dude, are you crazy? You're literally a criminal. It's like, I mean, yeah. We should be doing everything we can to make sure that every law-abiding citizen reports non-citizens as soon as they can. There should not be loopholes. If you're not a citizen, you should be, like, if you're a fugitive from the law, okay? Like, if you're a fugitive from the law because you broke the law, right? And you go into a hospital, like, let's say you robbed a bank, okay? There is a warrant out for your arrest. You robbed a bank and you broke your leg. You robbed a bank, you broke your leg, you go to the hospital, and the doctor has a freaking database, okay? The doctor's like, look, man, I'm going to fix your leg, but I also had to call the cops because you robbed a bank. All right? Am I crazy here? Can we not treat all crime the same and just be like, yo? But no, the left will be like, oh, it's not a crime to come. It's a misdemeanor. No. It's a crime to come across the border illegally. It's a felony. And, you know, anybody that says, oh, well, they pay their taxes, they're contributing. Okay, how are they paying their taxes? They don't, if they're not documented, what documents are they using to pay their taxes? Oh, they get a fake Social Security. So they're fraud. They committed a second crime, fraud. Yeah, they committed tax fraud. That's how they pay their taxes. Any illegal that's paying their taxes is committing tax fraud because they're not paying their taxes. They're paying somebody else's taxes. If they even do. Identity fraud, tax fraud, and crossing the border. No matter which way you slice it, unless you came into this country, claimed asylum through the proper channel, and if you are here undocumented, illegal, whatever, right? You're a criminal. I'm sorry. And look, here's the thing. This would apply to me in any other country. I don't feel bad for you because nobody would feel bad for me. If I really wanted to live in Italy, right? If I just wanted to, right? I think that I would have a better life in Italy. And I snuck across the border of Italy and I lived there for 10 years and I got a fake identity, right? And I changed my name and I paid Italian taxes, right? And I just wanted to live there. And they found out. They'd be like, hey, you're getting deported. I'd be like, but all I did was I broke your laws, crossed the border illegally. I faked my identity. I committed fraud, and I just sort of, you know, why you? Gosh, you guys are so mean. No, dude, these laws are in every country. You know, we're the only country where it seems like we're just like we're supposed to just be like, yeah, well, you know. We got this whole Statue of Liberty thing, and so apparently everybody thinks that we're just supposed to be, you know, no, come on in. It's like, nah, dude. nah. We're good. We're good. I mean, just saying. I don't think that we should, I think that broken windows theory is the best way to govern, you know, arrest people as soon as they commit a crime. 2015 talking points in the Big 26 is insane. This guy, it's always a groiper. It's a groiper. Groipers are basically just snowflakes. You guys are snowflakes. Shut up. Go find a coloring book, you moron. Somebody in the chat, groiper. I triggered a groiper. I have triggered quite a few people. You know what? Let's go through this, okay? I have the candy cult is after me. Right, Candace Owens followers and the groipers and the left, everybody, every moron on the internet is very upset because this Daily Mail article or headline, which was very misleading, came out and it says the bullet used to kill Charlie Kirk did not, in all caps, making sure that they're doing this on purpose, did not match the rifle allegedly used by suspect Tyler Robinson, new court filing claims. All right. You know, earmuffs or eye muffs or blinders. I don't know because I use some naughty language here. But this is such an effing piece of S way to report this, and dumb C's like Candace and Ian Carroll are going to run with it like it's confirmation. The bullet was fragmented. We knew this all along. 30-06 will almost never be matched because they're designed to expand and fragment. Let's look at this, okay? I'm just going to play this is a 5-minute video, but I'm just going to play the first couple of minutes.
Because we didn't do it enough in October. Claims. Okay. We already knew that in October. Look, I understand that Candace...
Okay, here we go. This is all I really wanted to show you. The most commonly used type of ammunition for a 30-06 rifle is soft point, okay? Now, as you can see in the video, I'm going to show you what a soft point looks like. It's a rounded tip. I'm going to compare it to the 30-06 power point in my hand because I have a 30-06 rifle. It's right behind me. Okay. I ate my breakfast today, which was backstrap and eggs after I shot it with a 30-06 last year. I know what I'm talking about. Shut up. It's insane to me that I have a bunch of morons on the internet who think they know more than me. You don't. You don't. Take a seat. Go find a coloring book. I'll be right over with your peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And don't worry, I'll cut the crusts off for you, you stupid child. You don't know shit. I do. Shut up. How about that? Stupid morons. So, again, right, to go back to this dumbass article, all right, which I have to continuously debunk because, as I said in that video, me on the internet is kind of like puppy training. I just have to repeat myself over and over again until you morons stop going duty on the carpet. But this is a intentionally misleading headline because we knew all the way back in October when the ballistics report came out that it was a fragmented bullet, which means it cannot be matched to any gun. Not Charlie Kirk killer's gun, any gun. All right, if you want more visual representation, here you go. These are some examples of fragmented bullets. You can't match them to a gun. You can't. Any gun at all. You can maybe find out if it's a 30-06 round, yeah, but you can't match it to the gun because the way that ballistics work is you need to look at the rifling on the side of the bullet. Here, let me show you one that I pulled out of a hog because once again, I shoot things a lot. I know what I'm talking about. I literally pulled this bullet. It's a 6.5 Creedmoor out of a hog's ass. I shot the hog in the neck. Bullets do weird things. Oh, can you explain to me why there was no exit? Well, yes, bullets do weird things. That's the explanation. You're an idiot. That's more of the explanation. You're an idiot. That's the explanation. But also, bullets do weird things. Now, if you look at the photo on the screen, this is a bullet that I personally dug out of a hog that I personally shot with a 6.5 Creedmoor rifle, also right behind me. I did that, and you can see right here, the rifling, this would be how you would match ballistics. You would need something that looks like this. If you have a fragmented bullet that mushroomed and broke off and the casing is all over the place, you can't match the bullet. All right? This is not crazy. A 30-06 would never not leave an exit wound. Yeah, Martin Luther King Jr. was shot with a 30-06, no exit wound. How dumb do you want to be today? Because I can do this all day. I can do this for the next 30 minutes. We got 30 minutes left. Would you like me to spend the next 30 minutes proving you're dumb? Or should we move on? I know more than you. Shut up. Yes, that is an appeal to authority. I am the expert. You're the moron. Jeez. It's just aggravating because I've already done this, right? I did this in September, October, November, and December, and finally I felt like, okay, good. And then some dumbass at the Daily Mail writes a stupid clickbait article, and we got to do it all over again. That's why this is, it's just a little irritating. Anyway, next up, Axios. 12 times Trump signaled the Iran war was about to end. Well, it's only been 3 weeks, so if he signaled it and it ends soon, he was right. It's about to end. Jeez. Again, these stupid people. Good. I'm glad we can't read this stupid article. Trump is saying that the war is going to end soon. Okay, what's soon? Because if it's over in like a week, then yeah, he was right. Wall Street Journal. Hegseth says, yeah, there was just a press conference this morning. I was watching it where they had an update, pretty much the same update as every other update, right? Where they're like, look, we're dealing with new people. The regime has already changed. They're more amicable to giving us what we want. And if they don't, we're going to bomb the hell out of them, right? This war is almost over. Trust me. This is not a forever war. I can guarantee you that much. All right, everyone that thought this was a forever war, you're already wrong. Again, shut up. I know more than you. Shut up. That's how we're dealing with you people from now on. I know more than you. Shut up. Okay, hold on one sec. All right, yes, I should move on. I should move on, but I'm not gonna. I should move on for sure. I should definitely move on, but I'm not gonna. All right, let's try this. lung TA. Yes, but you can metallurgically observe the anatomy for like markers to what was left in the rifle. Morons. The ATF can and does, but rifling is a crapshoot even on the tail. All right. Yes, I don't think that this is as bad as I originally thought it was, okay? You can try to do extensive ballistics. You're still not going to be able to match. It's still going to be inconclusive. The reporting on this story was inconclusive. So it doesn't matter what tests they run on a fragmented bullet. There's no, this isn't Batman, okay? They don't use AI and 3D scanners and put the rifle back together after pulling it out of a brick, okay? Wake up. It's 2026. It's not fantasy land. All right, just in case. I thought that person was being rude. They're not. It's actually a decent statement. Okay, now we'll move on. We have to move on. I'll do this all day. I really will. All right. Pete Hegseth, back to this story. Pete Hegseth said the coming days of the conflict would be decisive and that the number of projectiles launched by Iran in the past 24 hours represents the lowest during the war. Hegseth spoke in a joint press conference with Raisin Kane, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs. The comment came shortly after President Trump lashed out on social media. Essentially, again, like I said, signaling that this war is probably going to be over soon. Here we go. Check this out. Now, this is, Trump is kind of tired of your shit, and just like Iran, I wouldn't call his bluff, okay? This right here is indicative that Trump knows that this war is most likely going to be over soon. There's so many markers that are pointing to the fact that this war is going to be over soon. There's a tweet from Donald Trump, I believe it's this morning, okay? All of those countries that can't get jet fuel because of the Strait of Hormuz, like the United Kingdom, which refuse to get involved in the decapitation of Iran, I have a suggestion for you. Number one, buy from the U.S. We have plenty. And number two, build up some delayed courage, go to the Strait, and just take it. You'll have to start learning how to fight for yourself. The USA won't be there to help you anymore, just like you weren't there for us. Iran has been essentially decimated. The hard part is done. Go get your own oil. President Donald John Trump. Trump built up our oil reserves over the past, what are we at now? 14 months? In record time after Biden depleted our strategic oil reserves so that he could win the midterms, right? That happened. They literally just used the oil reserves to keep gas low during the midterms so that they could keep power, because that's all the Democrats care about, okay? If Donald Trump did not build up the oil reserves, if gas wasn't all the way down to like under $2 a gallon in some states before this operation, I understand it's high right now, okay? Get over it. It's going to be over soon. Then we probably wouldn't be able to do the war, all right? Because we couldn't sustain that. Now, what he's suggesting is for all the countries that did not help out, like the UK and all the countries that are, part of NATO who wanted our $200 billion so they could launder it back to the Democrat Party. Yep, that happened. We'll probably talk about that tomorrow. He's like, hey, you know what? Cool. Go get your own oil. We're done. And it's the smartest move that he could do, because they will not go and attack Iran. They're cowards. What they will do, they'll buy our oil. That's good for our economy. That sounds America first to me. All right. Let's see. One more? Should we do one more? We'll do one more. All right. Israel passes law to hang Palestinians convicted of deadly attacks based. Why not? All right. Israel suspends battalion that detained CNN crew in the West Bank. A soldier who made inappropriate remarks has been dismissed of service, the IDF said. Okay, good. They hold their own accountable. We're seeing a pattern here. We can't read stories because every newspaper now wants you to pay, and we don't need to. We're going to go to this. Okay, so as I said, okay, the CCP has been... Kit Kat Mar, usually just lurking in this early now. TMP Uncensored. This is a great, hold on, this is a great comment because this is one of my regulars. Before I came over to LFA, Crazy Moan McGroin. TMP Uncensored had like 12 of us chatting before Zach got big on LFA. My brain didn't need to work fast yet. You know, I used to say, so before I jumped over to LFA, my channel TMP Uncensored, I think it has like 1,500 followers. It's like I really did do this show just for fun, and I still do it just for fun. But it was a lot easier for my chat to talk to each other. It was very personal. And at the end of every show, I would be able to shout out every single person that was watching. I'd be like, okay, let's go through, and I'd literally be able to shout out everybody. Now we usually have around 2,000 live viewers, so we can't do that. Georgia Mom in the chat too. See, we got Georgia Mom, we got Crazy Moan McGroin. My regulars, I did move 1 hour ahead of my old live time, but glad that they're still here. Anyway. Just wanted to quickly acknowledge my P1s. My P1s are the best. I love them. Anyway, all right. CCP is funding the No Kings protest. This is from Steven Crowder yesterday. Right, very good watch. Let's check this out.
There are 500 groups involved, worth about $3 billion in revenue behind the protests. A lot of them are funded by the CCP-linked Neville Royce Singham. We've talked about them before, including the People's Forum in New York, the Party for Socialism and Liberation, the Answer Coalition, and of course Code Pink. Remember, we talked about this. Code Pink was founded by Singham's wife, Jody Evans. They were behind that whole Cuba thing where they went and gave a bunch of supplies to the communist government so they...
Pause. We're going to just check this out real quick. Right here. Remember when I brought this up last week? I think it was last week or the week before, right? You notice how it's always the same people, okay? The Answer Coalition, what Crowder was just talking about. The Answer Coalition is responsible for the BLM protests. They're responsible for the pro-Palestinian protests. They're responsible for the anti-Iran war protests. They're responsible for the anti-Venezuelan going and getting the dictator protest. They are all anti-Trump protests. It doesn't matter what the cause is. The Answer Coalition and the PLO or something like that. It's all George Soros funneled through the CCP. It's the New World Order, the thing that Tucker Carlson thinks that we should totally do, right? It's all funded through the same people. These are not organic. These are not organic protests. This is a psyop. Again, we use the word psyop a lot because there's a lot of psyops going on. Not a lot, really, just one really big psyop that has branches. But yes, the Answer Coalition, Code Pink, Stop the Iran War, China's not your enemy, etc., etc. MTG's like Israel and the Jews. Tucker Carlson's like Israel and the Jews. Hank Uyghur's like Israel and the Jews. Everybody's like Israel and the Jews. And it's all run by freaking communists. And Tucker Carlson just told us, like, I don't know, a week and a half ago, he's like, yeah, we should totally bring in the New World Order. The only country that's standing in the way is Israel. Yeah, thanks, Tucker. We know. That's why we like Israel. If Israel is the only country standing in the way of the New World Order, central digital bank currency, and eating bugs, sign me up for the Jews. Come on, dude. Put this all together. It's not hard to do. Let's continue.
They could assist them in murdering and silencing more dissidents. Here we have Madeline Pendleton, an activist from that convoy, openly discussing, so don't take my word for it, openly discussing communist Chinese funding and how they would like more of it.
So People's Forum is funded by a Chinese billionaire. You hear that about PSL a lot, and there is a Chinese billionaire who gives PSL some money sometimes. But the Chinese billionaire gives People's Forum a lot of money, and they posted a really funny thing about it back in 2021 that I want to show you. So they said, for months we've been the target of a campaign that alleges our funding comes from dark money. A few years ago, we met Roy Singham, a Marxist comrade who sold his company and donated most of his wealth to nonprofits that focus on political education, culture, and internationalism. It seems to bother some folks that we receive funding that furthers our anti-imperialist politics.
I wonder why it would bother anybody that the Chinese Communist Party is interfering in American politics. Didn't the left lose their mind over Putin? Right? Didn't they do that? Didn't they? Remind me, guys. The left lost their mind over Putin, right? I'm no fan of Putin, but let's just call balls and strikes here. And somebody else in the chat brought up a very good point about COVID. Do you think COVID was an accident? Like, I'm not, again, don't do this whole, oh my God, you sound like a conspiracy theorist. No. I sound like a conspiracy realist, right? COVID was released on the world for a reason, okay? It was. China was like, yeah, you know what? This will probably work. and it kind of did, right? And Jordan Peterson is very famously quoted as saying the real pandemic was 2 years of authoritarianism. What happened after China released a virus on the world? Every country tried authoritarianism in some form or another. It was a dry run. Trust me, these are not coincidences.
It seems to bother them even more that our funder is also a staunch anti-imperialist whose work goes back to the Black Panthers and the LRBW in Detroit. The folks who make allegations against us are steeped in the worst kind of racism, believing somehow that our funding robs us of agency and self-determination. Roy follows in the footsteps of his father, Archie, a committed activist for national liberation. We've got that open too. Ultimately, our solidarity with the peoples and countries at the epicenter of the struggle against U.S. imperialism will not be moved by the racist allegations made by the people who loudly echo State Department and Pentagon discourse. He does fund some stuff. It's certainly not the sole source of most people's funding. And also, who cares? He's a leftist. He sold his company, he got rich, he wants to give all his money away, right? If fucking Cardi B was doing all of this for the Democratic Party, you'd be patting her on the back. I don't know. They try to make it seem like the Chinese Communist Party is secretly running these like little campaigns out here. You know what I mean? I wish, first of all, that would be dope as hell if we all just...
I wish. See, they really do. They say the quiet part out loud. I wish the Chinese Communist Party was running us because I love communism. Remember, guys, communism, that's kings. That's pro-kings.
Got paid to be communist by the Chinese Communist Party, I'd be so on board.
Now, think about that. That would be dope. I'd be so on board. This is probably someone who, obviously there are no kings, thinks that Donald Trump is a tyrant and doesn't understand that if you are a Uyghur shop owner, meaning a Muslim Chinese, you still have to violate your own religious conscience and sell alcohol and cigarettes in China. Also, if you have the wrong Bible, you'll be imprisoned. They've run over dissidents with tanks, but it's okay. You need to understand this with the communists of the world. It's okay because the ends justify the means. I'd be so on board with pushing Chinese propaganda. Also, just for more proof, if you search for no kings on Google, the first things that pop up, Chinese state media.
It's so wild, man. Okay, so let's check out this one here. This is a chart of how money flows through Shanghai. Cash from Shanghai-based Neville Roy Singham moves step by step into the world, okay? Through 6 organizations. All right, so first of all, through Singham to 3 organizations, into 6 organizations, to 58 organizations. This guy, Singham, he's a Chinese Communist Party. He's Asian George Soros, okay? All right, next up, we have literal Chinese people at the No Kings protest, chanting in Mandarin, America has no king, ICE get out from LA. Okay, like, you can't make this up. Wow. Okay. Are we convinced yet? We can keep going.
After failing to kill your local ICE agent, end quote, on the wall there of that federal building. At least, you can see it right there, at least 74 people arrested after failing to disperse in St. Paul, Minnesota. Another large...
Kill your local ICE agent. That's what that says. With a crosshairs. Yeah, these are the left is totally the party. We should vote for Democrats, right? You know, Nick Fuentes told us to. You know, Sean Ryan said he's done with MAGA. You know, the podcaster circuit thinks that, you know, the best way to be America first is to punish the GOP by voting in the people who are aligned with the Chinese Communist Party, funding all of the protests, BLM riots, billions in damages, death in America, the people making excuses for Iran and Islamic Jihad. We should vote those people in to punish the GOP because they haven't done enough. Because they haven't given you your wish list, or because they just don't hate Jews. I don't know anymore. I can't keep up with how disappointing the GOP is to some people. All right. Now, there's plenty of criticisms you can make, right? I make them all the time. That's why I use my voice to vocally call out John Thune, right? To pressure senators. People like Scott Pressler are doing it right. People like Nick Fuentes are not, right? Let's keep this up.
Crowd. Remember, nearby Minneapolis was a hub for ICE activity earlier this year.
Minnesota was so directly the target of all of the anti-democracy strategies of the Trump administration over the last several months.
Now, Fox News digital reporter Azra Nomani attended the protest in St. Paul. She says she obtained a copy of the permit for the march in St. Paul, and the lead coordinator for the protest was a group Indivisible, a group with ties to networks funded by George Soros. So
oh, I'm sorry, what was that? Indivisible, a group tied to George Soros. The CCP has groups, Neville. Guys, come on.
See right there. Now, her reporting also found it connected to a wealthy American living in China named Neville Roy Singham, connected to some of those protests. Here she is.
They want to call it grassroots. It's 100% AstroTurf. There are well-intentioned people that you walked among who came out, but the command and control was from these 500 groups with, get this, a $3 billion budget.
We reached out to Indivisible, no comment, but No Kings put up a statement. Trump wants to rule over us as a tyrant, but this is America, and the power belongs to the people, not wannabe kings or their billionaire cronies. Again, no comment from Indivisible at this time.
So funny, the billionaires. The billionaire, like George Soros. Jeez. So wild. Kevin Sorbo posted this. Now we have a list of No Kings financiers: Arabella, Warren Buffett, Ford, Rockefeller, Soros, Tides. By the way, Ford, that's not the car company. You know, guys, follow the money. It's the easiest follow, right? This isn't hard. All right. Now, getting back to this, okay? We have the people at now. We already know where the funding's coming from. We know the intentions behind it. We understand the psyop, right? But what about the useful idiots? What about the people that are actually in the protest, like septum ring pink hair girl, okay, who just love communism? Okay, they love communism. Oh my God, I'd love to be communist. You notice how nobody blows up a hefty bag in Miami and floats to Cuba, right? They don't love communism. They don't. But they do love kings, right? Here's communist dictators and kings commonalities, all right? Centralized authority. A communist dictator like Stalin or Mao holds total control over the government, military, and policy decisions, much like an absolute king such as Louis XIV, who centralized power by claiming divine right. No separation of powers exists. The ruler makes, enforces, and interprets laws unilaterally. This leads to personal rule where loyalty to the leader overrides institutional checks. Hereditary succession. Power often passes down family lines in both cases. Kings through royal inheritance, and some communist regimes like North Korea's Kim dynasty mimicking monarchy. Even non-hereditary communist dictators built cults of personality resembling royal reverence. This dynastic element ensures continuity of absolute control across generations. Suppression of dissent. Both use forces like secret police or military to crush opposition. The same thing happens in Islamic regimes as well. If you're pro-Islam, you're pro-king. All right. They even have royalty in Islam. They have, you know, they have these type of royal titles. Maintaining rule through fear and intimidation. Propaganda portrays the ruler as infallible, whether as a god king or eternal leader of the proletariat. Economic and social policies serve the ruler's whims, often causing widespread hardship. Are we sure that it's a no kings protest? I'm pretty sure it's a king. It's a king's protest. It's no Trump, that's for sure. And that's how TDS rules people's lives. It really is. It's a mind virus, no different than the woke mind virus. Okay, and you have these people who I would say don't really know what they're saying. Like they're the way I describe it often, right? And you know, not to shit on my mom, right? My mom passed away last year. I love my mom. She's a wonderful, amazing woman, but she was in complete denial over my brother's addiction. Okay, my brother died of a heroin overdose. Now, he had no teeth in his head before he died. He smoked his teeth out. He was clearly a drug addict. He was a junkie. He had robbed my mother several times. He had robbed my father several times. He's literally caught doing drugs several times, right? And I went to my mom because I don't have that denial thing. And I was like, Ma, we got to do something about Sal. And she's like, what are you talking about? He's sober. He's clean. I'm like, Ma, he's got no freaking teeth in his head. You know, denial is powerful. It's a very powerful force. It's extremely powerful, right? It wasn't until my mom found my brother dead on her bathroom floor that she understood that he had a problem. It's a lesson that I wouldn't wish on anybody, because who was the first call? Me. I had to hear that horror in her voice. It was not fun. I'll never forget it. And you know, that's the thing with denial, all right? You don't wake up and until the boot's on your neck. Under this totalitarian regime, you know, how many times do I have to say it? First, they come for the socialists. When authoritarians finally get into power, after using useful idiots to get them in power, you know who the first people they kill are? The useful idiots. You know why? They're unarmed. They're trusting. They're unsuspecting. They walk up and they go, "We did it." And they go, "Well," they go, "We did it. You're dead." Right? It's a lesson I don't want us to learn. Right? I actually care about these stupid septum ring, pink-haired morons more than they do. Right? I don't want them to go through that. I don't want anyone to go through that. Right? This whole, you know, normalization of Islamo-Marxism, this push for communism and socialism in America. It's not going to happen, right? Because some of us understand how it will go, and we will quite literally fight to the death to prevent it. You understand? All right, let's see if we can squeeze in another slide. I think I have one or two more. We got that, we got that. Yeah, here we go. I mean, I think that already went through that, Yeah, just this last one, just to put a bow on it, okay? Showed you the Code Pink. Code Pink is a CCP influence op against U.S.-Korea alliance, Korea Intel. Code Pink runs Korea ops to end U.S.-SK joint drills, calls American economic exploiter, demands demilitarization. Back in 2025, People's Summit for Korea, pushing the long revolution of the DPRK and the U.S. out of everywhere. Does that sound familiar? The U.S. out of everywhere? Does anyone else see the correlation to useful idiots like Matt Walsh now and all the isolationists, right? Does anyone see that this is all connected? Okay. It's really this, guys. This is not something that I am guessing on. All right, I know this. So go to Matt Walsh real quick, because Matt Walsh apparently thinks that if you are pro or if you're anti-Islamic regime, you're pro-war, right? I don't know. Matt Walsh says the pro-war side can dismiss this all they want. All I can tell you is that Matt personally know. How many people does Matt know? Millions? All right. I personally know multiple very conservative, very conservative lifelong Republicans who are furious and they feel betrayed and blah, blah, blah. Who cares? Right? Who cares? I don't know a single person that's pro-war, right? I'm not pro-war. I've never been pro-war. That would be crazy. I'd be a sociopath if I was pro-war, right? I am anti-Islam. I am anti-Islamic regime. And Trump did promise no new wars, but he also promised peace through strength and that Iran would never have a nuclear weapon. If he had to break one of those promises because he can't keep both, I'm glad he chose the latter. He made the same choice our founders made in the Barbary Wars. 15 years after this country was founded, we had to go and attack Islam on their soil because we understood the threat to America from Islam. And if people like Matt Walsh don't understand this, pick up a friggin' history book, dude. To be prepared for war is one of the most effectual means of preserving peace. George Washington. Frickin' America for pro-war. Go screw yourself. Pro-war. Frickin' Matt Walsh's hypocrisy is just getting insane. Oh, this guy thinks he's got a gotcha moment here. Okay, I've actually now decided that I do in fact support war. Why have I spent all this time saying I don't? Of course I do. There are evil in the world. The only way to stop them is war. He must not have scrolled down like at all, because obviously this is sarcasm and trolling, like I said. But I am 35% not joking. Sometimes war is necessary. Sometimes war is necessary. Peace through strength, diplomacy, etc. should always be the first option. Anyway, Sean Farish is up next. Give me a second, Sean. All right, 30 seconds late, but here we go. Good morning, Brendan Farish. All right, Sean Farish is up next with Ungoverned. You guys enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. I'm going to go to work and I'm going to tile a shower. So have fun with Sean. I will see you tomorrow for Woke Wednesday.
A partially valid, a half-truth, if you will, is being pushed.
I can't wait to find out all sorts of new and exciting things I didn't know about myself.
So you just hate Jews, bro?
Yeah, you're just an anti-Semite. Congratulations.
You're
Go
not
join.
What would you say?
Exactly.
Well, that's different. It's not different. It's the same thing.
Yeah,
we are the only society on Earth who has the obligation to self-destruct, to blame ourselves for every problem that has ever existed, and we just think of ourselves as the worst human beings who are responsible for every bad.
How many Muslims are trying to stop Boko Haram? How many Muslims were confronting ISIS? How many Muslims, the extremists always win. So the peaceful